All right, Larson, you know what we do. At the end of every year, the beginning of any new year, we like to do what we call, what is it?
Performance review.
Yeah, performance review. That's what it is. Employee evaluation.
Yeah.
And that takes sort of form via a community tab thread thing where I'm like, hey, what?
I'm just laughing when I used to have to give you your performance review.
Larson used to give me performance. I'm like, I'm a freelancer. You want to start giving me like a 401k? Then I'll take a performance review.
That was outside of my pay grade, brother.
Did you ever try to like find something wrong with me? Because I don't think you ever gave me any negative marks.
What is there to be negative about?
Probably a lot, to be honest with you.
I mean, you're incredibly patient when they took forever to pay you.
It was such... Yeah, I know. Anyways, bad memories. So we reached out to the Friendos. We put up a community tab thread thing asking you guys what you want to see from us going into the new year. You know, last year they had asked for more in-person stuff. And so I was like, you know what, Larson?
Delivered.
Get your ass over here one day a week
Hey.
and let's do this Friendo Club
10.
stuff. 10.
Exceeds expectations.
Exactly. And so I was like, they also asked for retro reviews, which we did towards the beginning of the year. And then I was like, nobody beyond a couple people seem to really care about this.
It's the thing where, yes, there's that aspect of it. Plus, it takes however long it takes to watch the thing, plus another hour.
Yeah, right.
That's 4 hours, basically, for a show that we could spend doing other things that would do better.
Exactly. So those are the two main ones, and we delivered on one of them. You know, it's this one. I had posted up in the community thread, by the way. I want to talk about this really quick. I had said, look, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, in-person podcasts are not possible. And when I say not possible, I mean, like, yeah, if our lives were on the line and we had to get together every day for a podcast.
Or if one of our internet went down.
Right, exactly. So, like, yeah, it's possible. However, the amount of time it takes to set it up, him to travel over here, him to go back, et cetera, it's not worth it given that we could take that time and do this stuff right here.
Yeah.
That's why it's not possible. Like, he doesn't live too far away. It's just everything involved with doing this here.
Doing the set, all that, yeah.
As opposed to me just having to mosey on over to my pre-existing rig.
Press
so
a
that's
couple
why.
Things on the desktop, bang, good to go.
What I did appreciate this year, though, we'll kick off with Bucket Dipper. He says a lot of the Friendo Club stuff like Meltzer star ratings for old matches and pay-per-views are awesome. The quiz challenges are really fun as well. I'd love to see maybe each of you make quizzes for the other person to complete, but somebody else. Idea. And here's another idea that we can steal from Stash Club Wrestling. Because when I was thinking of Friendo Club, I'd come across their channel. I was like, man, these guys, that's kind of cool, some of the stuff they do. So I was like, we could do that too. Look, man, people steal from people all the time. Larson.
All the time.
Exactly. It's flattery. It's flattery. Go check out Stash Club Wrestling.
Yeah.
But they have apparently their like audience make quizzes for them. So I want to see that. We need to have people make quizzes for us.
See, Steve's like, us take the time to make quizzes? Nah.
You guys
Friendos
can do
make
the work.
quizzes. Yeah, there's a lot of people's. I'm happy to see this. Enjoying the the Meltzer star ratings. Those are fun to do.
That's gonna stay.
That is gonna stay.
That's gonna stay.
If I had a piece of paper, I'd write that down as a regular part of the schedule.
Yeah.
You know, so much of what we did last year for Friendo Club, especially, was try new things, see what worked, what performed well versus how much time it took to put it together. Because, you know, like if we're spending an hour or two doing something and it doesn't do terribly well, as opposed to doing something that takes maybe 45 minutes and that not doing terribly well.
Right, yeah.
We're probably going to do the thing that takes only 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, it's all about devoting our resources to stuff that people enjoy, that performs well.
Yeah.
And people engage with. And
that's the thing, when we say perform well, that means more people are liking it than other stuff that people like, and we want to try to make stuff that people like, because like you guys are happy, we're happy, we get paid.
Exactly.
You guys are
exactly, and stuff that's enjoyable for us to do too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I love Guest and Meltzer star ratings. You're right. I'm glad that other people like it. One thing that I want to try to crack in terms of getting more people on board with is the what would you rather be. I think it's a lot of fun, and I honestly think that, like so much with YouTube, it comes down to like how you package it, the thumbnail,
Title and thumbnail, yep.
title and thumbnail. So I want to try to crack that because I really like that too. I like that to be weekly. Jonathan Vieira says, I'd love to see you guys react to old TNA episodes and pay-per-views. There's lots of great matches, promos, and segments scattered throughout the initial TNA run that I think you guys would enjoy. It's probably like maybe a possibility, but I don't like. Again, that's sort of thing. It'd probably do like, I don't know, 5,000.
Yeah, I know.
Like it probably.
I mean, basically, if we do anything star rated focused, whether it be our own star ratings, reacting to Meltzer's current star ratings or the old ones, that's pretty much guaranteed to do between 8,000 and 10,000.
Yeah, right.
So those for sure are going to stick around.
Yeah, exactly,
because it performs well. People really seem to like it. We enjoy doing them.
Yeah.
So pay-per-view weeks for sure, you're going to get 2 different star rating videos. You can get ours or you can get Dave's or you can get our predictions. That all's going to stay.
Yeah, right.
And the Would You Rather stuff is fun. I think packaging is going to be part of it. I think the quizzes, there's a lot of people mentioning the quizzes. Those will stick around, but I like the idea of doing them in blocks and seasons, essentially.
Yeah, sure. Same.
Because it'd be real easy to burn ourselves out. I think the audience out of them if we did them every week.
Yeah, I agree. The Sebastian, and I really want to try this. The fantasy booking stuff. Not into it, really?
I don't know. Like when we did our guessing the Mania card, I threw some shit out there. Feel like, Larson.
Well, okay, but if you,
Larson,
being understanding that you're a bit burnt on that one, the friendos burnt you. Understanding that, the idea of how would Steve book the invasion angle, how would Larson book the invasion angle, and then coming up, because I think we're here's the thing about the Mania thing. This is what happened with the Mania thing. The title of the video was predicting it, and so I think people, yes, it's more interesting for us to come up with different ideas.
Yeah.
But when it's so obvious what it's gonna be, you deviate from that, then people are gonna be like, "Oh, Larson, what are you smoking?" So like, I kind of feel like this is just if we did it, but at the same time, people can be very critical. When we did the fantasy book thing with the Parts Unknown, and like we came up with our fantasy book for whatever we were given. I don't know. There's some pretty harsh people in the comments too there. So I don't know. I think it could be interesting.
We'll see.
I kind of like this idea. It's like a very specific one. But Ryan Fever says, I like the idea of a series where you pick a championship and you both have a go at redesigning it.
I'll go one better.
Yeah.
You get like 10 minutes to do it. It's all done in real time.
A beat the clock challenge.
It's like Pictionary for designing a new title.
Oh, I kind of like that. That's good.
But again, that's one of those things that we could maybe do monthly because there's only so many championships,
This is. I actually replied to this one, but I thought it's a good thing to bring up because it could be something other people wanted to know about. He says, in terms of our overall content, this has been your guys' best year. Great. In terms of schedule, it was one of the more frustrating. He says, it seemed like for the first half of the year, you didn't really know what you wanted to do for the Friday show. First, it was Impact and NXT, then just NXT, then Ask Steven Larson, and now it's elongated news brief and sometimes a count out. And my response to that was, for us, it was, I'm not going to say frustrating necessarily, but we can't control when news breaks, obviously. And so on a Friday that, for example, the wrestling, those other guys have the newsletter, the Wrestling Observer. We pull from that usually on Fridays for like the news stuff. And there's either some stuff that's really interesting or it's bone dry.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we have to ask ourselves, okay, do we do a count out instead? Because there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Or do we go ahead with a news brief if there are things to talk about?
Yeah, exactly.
Ask Steven Larson as a show is basically gone because we couldn't find a way to package that so that it was appealing enough.
Yeah.
So on Fridays, I mean, I think we got it down where like Mondays is obviously SmackDown and Collision and maybe news from the weekend. Tuesday is Raw review, and if Raw can carry itself as its own review, we'll do a news brief on top of it, or we'll put the news in the Raw review.
Yeah.
Wednesdays, I think we usually do a news brief on Wednesdays.
News video.
Once you go home.
Yeah.
Thursdays, of course, is AEW, and then we have a 5th spot open. It's gonna be one of the things or not one of the things, and that's just sort of how it is.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
but for somebody who's got like super OCD on that stuff, I could understand how that's frustrating.
That's one of the things we, to a degree, preach is especially for those launching a new YouTube channel, is consistency. And given how we do things and how we approach the world of wrestling, for sure you can get 5 podcasts a week. For sure you can get something Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. And it's good for us to make sure that we produce content that people are engaging with, to give us a bit of flexibility for those Wednesday, Friday, and even Saturday spots. Every week you're gonna get 5 shows, sometimes 6 if there's pay-per-view, and there's enough for us to talk about, maybe more than that, including news briefs. But we've just found it benefits us in how we approach the channel, to give us that measure of flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this one. I don't know how realistic it is. And I don't want this video to turn into like, you guys suggest something and we shit on it. But it's the kind of thing I'd like to see too. It's just time is sort of a crunch. More skits like the RoboCop one. I mean, that was sort of one of the benefits of being in office, was we had a bit more space, and like, we'd come in early, which just didn't work for us. But coming in early, we had more time to do stuff. I just don't think the show was very good when it was early it was like 9 o'clock
9 in the morning. We had to report to work. Did clock in.
We were freaking grumpy.
That was
like, why are you looking at me like that?
I know. We both turned to Dax Harwood. Spent more time left.
Stop staring at me. Stop breathing so hard.
But I will say this. I think when we were doing the intro skits back in the 10 for the Win days, like way back in the Machinima days, we didn't have the responsibility of doing something on a daily basis.
That's true, yeah.
So we had 2, sometimes 3 episodes of those to do a week. So we had a lot more time to think about, all right, what's some fun, interesting things? And we just got into a really good rhythm with those.
We did, yeah.
Where a lot of the times we would come up with a premise and just shoot something.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And it would usually, let's say there weren't some duds when we did those. There were. But a lot of them, just because it was the energy was good. We were in a good rhythm with them.
Yeah. We were 10 years younger, so we had more energy.
And we had more energy. And so many of those were completely unscripted. It was basically, here's the idea. What should we do? This, then do that, then do this. All right, roll camera. That was basically it.
We had like a really good shorthand too. We've always had a shorthand, but like back then for those situations where we're filming stuff, we had a really good shorthand because it was just you and me. Like we probably should have brought in like a camera guy one day a week to film stuff.
No, we had tripod. That's what we need.
He had Bill Tripod.
Yeah, we had Bob Tripod.
Yeah. But yeah, skits are fun and everything. And if something cropped up where it was like, hey, let's take out, a couple hours and do a skit, I could see us doing that. But like, it just like, it hasn't really like reared its head in terms of like, oh, we have a reason to do one,
Exactly. Cali Kid Hooligan here says, I know it'd take a lot of work, but more produced content. Like something you guys could do is cheaply reenact moments in wrestling history, behind the curtain moments, and you guys play all the parts. I think it'd be hilarious and really fun and creative for you guys. Kind of like a drunk history thing, maybe.
I mean, look, that sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds cool, but like, man, that sounds like a lot of. And I'm not even gonna say effort, because I'm fine putting effort into something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's something to consider. Like doing skit type stuff is something to consider.
I don't know about necessarily reenacting stuff. I mean, because one of the issues would be finding either creative ways to dress your or my house up to resemble a backstage area, a locker room, or doing the legwork to try to find a place that has an area that would resemble a backstage area or a locker room and shoot there.
Yeah.
And individually, it's not like a ton of time. It's like, go to Michael's and get some stuff or make some phone calls. But on top of everything else that we'd have to do, I don't know, it might be something that we could do on occasion, but not on a regular basis.
Yeah. And again, it's the kind of thing where it's like, I don't know, if we had, it's sort of difficult to understand, like to even understand like why I'm not sure that would be something that we would consider throughout the year, because like we're on such a like set schedule and like doing now incorporating Friendo Club content where, look, you guys asked for in-person stuff. And that's what we're sort of delivering here.
Yeah.
And honestly, it would be a lot. It would be a lot different if we had, because as you guys know, it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
And if we had the resources, if we were bankrolled, basically, and we had like a production guy and like a small warehouse space, then it would be completely different.
It'd be different.
Then we'd be doing the in-person podcast.
If we had the couch shop set up.
And if we had the what?
The couch shop set up.
Yeah, if we had the couch shop set up, yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, look, if and I don't expect this to happen, but it's one of those, it's sort of a catch-22. It's like, if we churn this channel into, like, we're always trying to be successful, but there's like a certain thing that you have to do plus get luck in order for it to turn into a channel that does 10 to 20,000 views per video to 200 to 500,000 views per video.
Yeah.
And luck is a key component to that.
It is.
Like, you can put a bunch of time and effort and resources into doing that, but then you do need that extra added thing of like,
it just needs to catch.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch on.
And then because then you have the amount of money and resources to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, then you can start reinvesting in the channel. They call me RP says, love your content. The star ratings are fun. I do wish NXT was a part of the show somehow, even if it wasn't a full review.
So here's the thing about NXT is that I would say this. Right now, it's a no. We have no idea what's going to happen with AEW's TV deal.
Yeah.
And depending on how that shakes out, there's a possibility Collision's going to move nights.
Yeah.
There's a possibility Collision's going to be canceled.
Yeah.
And if that were to happen and a slot would open up and NXT continues to grow,
and then it's a possibility. Absolutely.
then I could see it's a distinct possibility. So I wouldn't say, oh, that's never going to happen. It would not shock me if by the end of 2024 we were reincorporating NXT reviews in, because it has been growing and WWE's been smart with their strategy behind NXT. So I think it's a possibility, but until we know that, okay, there is a, like, dude, I don't know. I don't know exactly when I'm gonna put this up, but like Thursday, WWE is gonna have some sort of announcement.
Yeah,
and there's rumors flying around about TNA being involved with WWE somehow.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what that means for TNA, WWE, NXT. Like, if NXT blows up on the CW, there's a possibility that we'll incorporate that.
Yeah, it's possible. Using some moral says, I'd love to see the video concept you guys mentioned a long time ago about the theory that Hulk Hogan was always a heel. I know this would obviously be a lot of work to research and make detailed examples of his heelish tendencies, but a version of that idea would be cool to see. That's one of those things that I thought up of years ago that I thought would always be fun. And I think in my mind, it's to a degree intimidating to go back through so much of his career. And it's one thing to find an example here or there, but to find a consistent pattern that you could point to. So it's not just, you're just pulling 5 examples out of his 10-year run initially in WWE and saying this. But no, if there's a consistent pattern of heelish behavior, and doing the research is a bit intimidating considering our schedules are already pretty busy, and also from the presentation perspective, like how to put it all together in a way that's interesting and informative and entertaining. And every once in a while I'll be there brushing my teeth and I'll think about it, and I'll think, okay, I'll go revisit the idea and think it'd be really fun to do, because I think it would. It's just kind of sorting all that out in my mind. Yeah.
I think it would be fun. I mean, that's one thing that I've like started to put together on Wrestle Juice, because I have an idea for like a little video essay, basically just sort of doing a silly sort of review recap of WrestleMania 1 using just like stills from the actual show. Like I have half a script written, and it's funny because, like, for example, because they pre-filmed the interviews, there's like a shot of Lord Alfred Hayes throwing to an interview with one of the wrestlers. I forget who. One of the wrestlers. Oh, it's SD Jones. And as he's throwing to it, you see SD Jones walking away in the background, and then it cuts to an interview with him. So like, and WrestleMania 1 is one of those weird. That's my long way of saying I'd love to get into producing, like into more produced content. But yeah, it does. I mean, honestly, it does. It takes time, and it simply takes time to do. And, but I'd like to do that kind of stuff. And I don't know if that's the kind of thing, if we did like a produced piece of work and it did like really, really well, it's okay, we are incentivized
now. Exactly. That's
to
another
do more.
thing is, like, I don't know. It's the conversation you have to have with yourself is like, all right, we're starting something new. Because it's new, you don't exactly know how it's going to perform, especially something that's going to take a significant amount of time to research and film and do all the post for.
Yeah.
And everything that we jump into, we have to make the decision. Is the amount of effort this is going to take to produce worth what this is going to generate in terms of interest from our audience?
Yeah. That's one thing I like about the idea of video essays, though, is that like if you don't commit to doing it like, oh, we got to do this every week, and you just take your time with it, YouTube is a lot more favorable these days about like, oh, this one single video out of a channel of like videos that are unlike it, those videos can still do like YouTube will still Nick My Hero says maybe a monthly highlights video. I did set up, and I'm trying to be consistent with it every morning. Whenever we do a show the next morning, I scrub through, I see either of us laughing and I'm putting them in a timeline. Good. So good. I am going to try to do that. It might be the kind of thing that by March I wasn't able to incorporate into a routine, but I'm going to try.
Craig Hadley here says, getting to know your stories about how you got into wrestling and how you watched growing up. Like our wrestling origin stories.
You want like more Steven Larson background info? That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting
to maybe some people.
I could try to see if that video store used to rent WrestleMania 1 from in a small town in Arizona is still around.
Oh, there you go. We'll visit there.
There you go. Do the 12-hour drive. Damon Harden says, do whatever makes you happy.
Oh, wow.
Has you excited to talk about it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think the bottom line is like we got to be into the idea, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And if we're not into it, we're not going to do it.
A couple of people mentioned this. Strictly Emo says more WWE 2K content. Once the new game comes out, I could see us doing My GM again. Yeah. I thought it was fun. And again, if we do the thing where it's like, we're going to do 10 weeks, and whoever has the most at 10 weeks, we're going to do it that way. I'd like to do one thing I'd love to do is sort of rip off what they do at Wrestle Talk or parts. I forget which channel theirs does it. But, they've got their My GM series over there, and they do like little in-between promos. Like, they film it kind of doc style. Like they'll sort of say, Luke will be on camera and be like, man, I totally thought I was going to win this week. That kind of stuff.
Oh, kind of do like skits in between.
But but like do it our sort of style, do it in our own way.
I'm going to add something here. Because it's something I thought of, and I don't know at this juncture, it's kind of too late to implement for this year, but something in the future where we've done a couple of videos where we graded title reigns. And kind of expanding the scope of that. I had the idea of grading WWE's pay-per-views for 2023 or AEW's pay-per-views for 2023, stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
More of the graded type stuff. I don't remember how those performed at all, but it's another idea.
I think if given like the right like packaging, it could probably do pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking us for a movie review of the Iron Claw.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I want to see it. I hope I see it soon. I don't anticipate a time where I'll make it to the theater to see it. Right. So once it's on streaming, I will watch it. Yeah.
There's also more people asking for what if stuff. So like we're gonna do another what if video today.
Yeah.
Even Eric here says you could ditch Collision and watch NXT instead. I think you'd totally be down to ditch Collision. But the problem is because it's the weekend show. Yeah. The problem is it's like core AEW programming.
It is.
And what's the name of the podcast, Larson?
So Steven Larson's Going in Raw, WB, and AEW podcast.
Exactly, yeah. I like this. This would be good, but I don't know how we'd get away with the copyright aspect of it. OMT says, dub yourselves commentating over poorly done matches.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
That'd be kind of tough.
That would be tough.
Yeah. So anyways...
Good feedback.
Yeah, really good feedback. I like the fact that... Here's the thing that I like about the feedback this year. There's stuff that we did that we came up with last year in 2023 that a lot of people seem to enjoy.
Yeah.
So validation for us.
Exactly. Exceeded expectations.
Exactly. Well done. Another successful year. So yeah.
What's our raise then? How much of a bump do we get?
I mean, that's up to them. Y'all need to share this episode with your friends. Share our channel with our friends. And then the revenue will come in.
All right, 2% bump.
We'll be a 2%. Yeah, we get a 2% bump this year. You could tell your family.
That's something.
Good news, kids. We can finally afford bologna.
Yay, baloney.
Stop looking at me.
Is that the baloney talking? I can't look at the baloney.
I don't know. It's me at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're sharing an office.